Today's July Life Coach podcast is brought to you by me. I have no sponsors, but I listen to some podcasts now, and I noticed that a lot of them had sponsored, so I just wanted to start off doing that. I am hosting a live course on October 12th. It's called How to Teach Anyone Anything, and needless to say, it's about the topic of teaching. So, I want you to sign up for it, but this episode will be a good marker of whether I am good enough of a teacher to convince you or not. We'll find out. Today's topic is something special. I've been thinking about this for a little while, but I was thinking of the best way to package this, and I came up with this idea to do a podcast episode about this thing that I'm announcing. So to talk about this, I want to go back in time a little bit. The year was 2022, and I was a fresh new life coach, and I was working on, hey, how about freebies? No one knows me, no one knows my value, so no one has any reason to hire me, but I want to have a business, so I want people to hire me. But people need to know how good I am at doing something without having to necessarily invest in me first, because they might be disappointed. So what's the best way to do that? Oh, it's like a free resource. Okay, so many people have something called a freebie. So if I owned a food truck, I would give people samples. So just like that, I have a life coaching business. Therefore, I will give you free PDFs of the things that I am good at talking about. So I made this guide about social anxiety and procrastination. And in that, I mentioned an idea that I got, I mentioned an idea of a challenge that my sister came up with, right? My sister is also a life coach, and she has a challenge called the Garbage Post Challenge. And I won't get into that much detail about what the Garbage Post Challenge is, but in long story short, because I was new, she was experienced, I wanted a review from her. And when she saw that I had mentioned the Garbage Post Challenge, she said something that I am making it come true today. She said, "Why don't you have something like your challenge instead of referring to mine?" Right? And so I thought, you know what, that sounds really good. But I don't know if I have something like clever yet. And 2 years passed, and the idea for this didn't suddenly come because I am now clever. It's just that I have, over the last 2 years, I have learned to look at myself as a resourceful person. I have learned to look at myself as a creative person. And when I give that permission to myself, then I start slowly and surely start to become that creative person who has that inner authority to create challenges like this, right? So so today I'm gonna talk about my zero client challenge. So what is the zero client challenge? It's ideally done by practitioners or service providers who have no clients but would like to. The thing is, if you don't really want clients, if whatever you provide as a service is not going to be your livelihood, then I think it's fine to not do this challenge. But suppose, for whatever reason, right, you invested a lot into learning how to become a service provider like a life coach, and you want to get to work with clients, but then you just don't know how to get started, right? And my challenge is a little bit inverted, because most of the time challenges involve you doing something hard, right? And then seeing if you can do it. But my challenge is, I'm gonna give you a blueprint for success, especially at the zero client stage. And as long as you do this, the challenge is staying at zero clients. It sounds a little bit confusing, right? Basically, I'm that confident that as long as you do this, you will get a client. It's going to be challenging to not get a client using this methodology. And if you do this, and if you find that you still don't have any clients, I would love to talk to you, and I would love to work with you, and figure out why the challenge part is happening, because I'm pretty confident that it won't. Okay, so it requires an activity, right? But before we get to what that specific activity is, I want to explain to you, especially for the people who aren't necessarily life coaches or people who aren't really service providers, I want to motivate this problem for you. So, like I said, I started a business. I want to work with people, but in order to work with people, people need to know that I am available for purchase. I am available for hiring. But also, I'm not just anyone you can pay money to. I can give you something of value, right? But how do you don't know me. And I have nothing on my social profile about like the things that I do, right? So when I'm this like blank slate, how do you know that I'm a good worthy investment of your time or not? Doesn't even have to be about money at this stage. I'm saying, hey, I'll give you my services for free. But then if you aren't really interested, or if you aren't really convinced by my, professionalness, if you aren't convinced by my ability to solve whatever problem it is you have, then even if it's free, you're not gonna want it, right? So in actual business, what do people do to solve this problem? People actually pay clients to be their clients, right? This is something that happens a lot in research. They give you like a gift card for participating in something, right? And then a lot of retail does like invitation only sales and things like that. Basically, that is paying people so that they can be your customers, and then you can get started on fostering that relationship, right? Okay, but those kinds of traditional companies have a lot of capital, which you might not, right? You are a solo entrepreneur, and you might not have that capital to buy clients. So what do you do in that case? Well, you need to promote your work, right? You need to be telling people how good your services are, what you do and such. So now we motivate why the zero client solopreneur needs to start talking. But the zero client status has two unique challenges. Number one, you have no audience. So people say, yeah, just start an email campaign and then, to start emailing people. Okay, but here I send my email to 0 people, right? Here I make my post on my brand new fresh Instagram account with 0 people. And because my account is so empty, nobody really follows me, right? So there's this severe feeling that gets worse and worse about how you feel like you're talking to the void. And it took me around 1.5 years to feel comfortable talking into the void, because I got a lot of practice in talking to the void. So it is something that is not only like challenging to do in terms of practice, it's also very emotionally challenging for you to do that, right? The second unique challenge that comes with the zero client status is that when you have a client, they tell you what their problems are. But when there isn't someone in front of me, how do I pick what problem to talk about, right? So even if I talk about a problem, how can I even make that specific enough? Because it's really hard to imagine a scenario vividly, depending on your personality, depending on your personal traits, right? So when I have many students who are wonderful coaches when there is a client in front of them, but then they can't really start talking about something out of thin air, which is something that I do very well because of this challenge, right? So quickly summarizing, the zero client status has two unique challenges, and it's number one, you have no audience, and number two, you don't know what to talk about. Okay, so now my approach, the zero client challenge, solves these two problems inherently. And so what is the activity that is involved in this? The activity that's involved in this challenge is, for 108 days, at least once a day, whatever platform you're already on as a consumer. So you don't need to register to new social media. If you're already using LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn. If you're already using Facebook, go to Facebook. If you're already using Instagram, go to Instagram. If you're already using Reddit, go to Reddit. On a platform that you are already on, you are going to find people asking questions to the world, right? So for example, Reddit is a really great place for this because people generally come to Reddit to ask questions. Like, am I the asshole? Am I the only one? And hey, what should I do in this case? Did I fuck up? These are things that are very commonly asked in Reddit. Facebook groups of a special interest are also full of questions. LinkedIn is also, if you search in a specific way, you can find questions. But LinkedIn, I think, is a good place to talk about career in general. So let's make a quick note of, we're gonna come back to LinkedIn in a little bit. But Threads, Instagram, you might be thinking, but nobody really asks questions on Instagram. People people talk about themselves. Well, the thing is, on Instagram, there are a lot of viral posts. And on those viral posts, you have the ordinary people who react to those viral posts, right? And in those reactions, there has to be questions. So for example, something I see all the time is content related to toxic parenting and like how to parent yourself. These types of videos always have specific questions about, I get the point of this video, but what about this? My mom does blah blah blah, right? Or if it's a video about motivation, yeah, this sounds good, but my life is blah blah blah. So those are all things that you can impart your wisdom on. This is inherently solving of the two problems because, number one, because you're replying to one person, you have one guaranteed audience. You aren't talking into the void. Number two, this person is supplying you the information that you need in order to coach them or give them your service. So you could be a massage therapist, and you could be, watching videos about like sports rehab, but then like you might be seeing questions like, oh yeah, my triceps are fine, but then I have elbow pain when I blah blah blah. Then you can impart your wisdom there, right? So you have a specific problem to work on, and you have at least one person audience. This inherently solves the two problems, which means it's showtime. You can show off your skills. Now, as long as you do this, you have one guaranteed audience. But now, when you are replying to someone, it's most likely going to be replying to somebody who has already commented on somebody else's post. So, you may feel weird about hijacking this person's post and making it all about you. So, something you can do, these are some additional tips, is you can answer a little bit succinctly in the comment, but using the same comment. Now you can make content based on that. So, every time you engage in this activity for the next 108 days, you are going to reply to someone and you're going to have one post that solves one problem, right? And that's how you build this experience. So think about this. Suppose you do this twice a day or 3 times a day. In a week, you're going to have 21. You're going to have 21 posts, all with informative information that actually helps solve people's problems. And so, when people like your comment enough, they learn. What's the most human, natural behavior that people do when people look at something interesting posted by a person? They click the profile of that person to see if there's more like this, right? So, the more you do this, the more people you attract to your profile. Your profile is kind of your land, right? And you, in your land, you can do, be promoting everything, right? So if you come to my, stuff and you start commenting, oh, you sign up for Billy, you should sign up for my stuff, link in bio. Now, that's kind of weird because you're promoting to my people on my comment section, right? I'm kind of actually okay with that, but depending on the people, some people might really not appreciate that, right? But your profile is yours. You can sell whatever it is because it's yours. So that's why I started this podcast by saying this podcast episode is brought to you by me, right? I'm free to do that. So on Reddit, you will find many people don't want you to promote yourself. And that's fine. Because as long as you do your job right, as long as you help solve people's problems, people will be attracted to you. Now, let's talk a little bit about the people's reactions to this. I think in general, there's three kind of branching results. Number one, people don't like it. Good. This is good because they don't get to cause you future headaches. Right? Can you imagine being forced to hang out with this person you don't like? Or even worse, can you imagine hanging out with this person who doesn't like you and they make it blatantly obvious? It's not a really fun experience. Of course, are there Buddhist ways to handle it like Billy does? Yeah, but not everybody needs to be like me, right? So when they don't like you, good. You have done the job. You let people know about you, they informed an opinion, and that's the end goal, right? You're just trying to do that over and over with scale. Number two, they like your stuff and they're gonna follow you. Good. Mission accomplished. You have a follower now, right? Now, branching option number three is they like you, but they don't like you enough to follow yet. But guess what? The more of this you do, naturally, because of how internet algorithms work, it just makes your work more noticeable. And the more they see the things that they like about you, the more people are likely to follow you. But the goal here isn't to get followers, right? Although this challenge does a nice job of that. The goal is to have a client, which means you gotta have an offer. So now the full version of it is this. You populate your profile with an offer that people can immediately see when they tap into your profile username. For 108 days, you comment on someone, giving them help, make content out of that help. At least once a day. And then you see if you can make the full 108 days without a client. And again, if you don't land a client like this, then I will give you my personal help, and that is how confident I am about this approach. So, I said I will circle back to LinkedIn, so let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where people come to kind of show off, right? So, when in this kind of a community, it is kind of shown as a sign of weakness. And there can be a lot of people with imposter syndrome on LinkedIn, right? So on LinkedIn, it's going to be a little bit difficult to find questions to answer to. But the nice thing about internet is that it always gives you templates that you can reuse. And the template that I want you to use for LinkedIn is reactions. You know, a lot of YouTube videos are reacting to already popular videos. Same with Instagram. Because what goes viral has a tendency to go viral even if it has one layer of something on top, right? So, when you see a LinkedIn post, that has like 100K likes because it's it's saying some profound stuff about a career or something. What you can do is, there's a popular sentiment that goes like this: well, here's what I think. And because LinkedIn, you can worry a little less about having not many followers, because LinkedIn is a very in-person social network based platforms, right? So if you're on LinkedIn, it's because you're in a field that uses LinkedIn. So as long as you can find the content that you can react to, you can still use the same approach, and you have real person network that's emulated on LinkedIn, so you don't have the audience problem anymore. And now another thing is, if you're on multiple platforms like me, you can use the same stuff you posted on Instagram on LinkedIn. That's also fine, right? And you can use that for your emails as well. So this practice is not only just designed to get you, to a client, but it also gets you into a habit of writing. And it happens to give you the skill of observation, because when you actually sit down to do this, you're gonna want to do a good job, right? Which means you're going to read every minute detail of the sentence that people are saying, so that you can provide good feedback based on those, which will, over the course of 108 days, improve your sensitivity when it comes to client communication. So, and the more you do this, the more you're going to be able to pull examples out of thin air, because you've done this so many times. So when I say, hey, can you solve procrastination? Right now you may have a vague cloud of an idea, but after 108 days, you're gonna have tackled procrastination so many times, you're gonna be able to give me the most common reasons why I procrastinate and the context behind it. It's building that kind of experience that makes you have always something to talk about, right? And so that is my 0 client challenge. So to summarize again, number 1, you are going to, number 2, for 108 days, you are going to be on the platform that you are already on. You are going to find questions people are asking, and you are going to answer them. You are going to answer them in comment, and you are going to create a post or content based on your answer. And you are going to have a profile that leads to an offer. So do this for 100 days and let me know if you don't get a client, and I'll be happy to talk to you. So that is, in a nutshell, what the 0 client challenge is. Now, if you want to give it a try but have further questions, write a comment here or send me an email at billy@julylifecoach.com. I would be happy to get you started. With that said, hey, once again, hey, I'm promoting my stuff. This is because this is my podcast. On October 12th, I have a class I am teaching, and it's about teaching. You can teach anyone anything. And how this relates to this specific topic today is, what is self-promotion and what is marketing? Different people have different ideas about it, but I really think it's an education problem. You are teaching your clients that you exist. You are teaching your clients that you can help. You are teaching your clients that they can be in a better state of mind. It all comes down to education. So when you are good at teaching anyone anything, you can have the confidence to sell anything. You can have this confidence to communicate anything. And that, I think, is a very important skill set to have, whether you're a coach or not, whether you're a student or not, whether you're a parent or not, whether you're a whatever, right? So that's why I'm passionate about getting you to register for my course. It's on October 12th at noon. Even if you can't join live, I will give you a recording, and it's gonna be great. It's just $20. And the link to sign up is going to be on the post or the comments, and I really hope to see you there. All right. This was a relatively short podcast episode, but I will see you in the next episode.